Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and online coaching program, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. If you like the podcast, you're going to love my group coaching program. If you want to learn more about it, including the investment, what's included, see client testimonials, and to sign up and get enrolled, please head over to irresistibleicing.com/course. The link is also in the show notes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Irresistible You podcast. Hi, if you are new here, if you are an OG listener, welcome back. I just wanted to say something really quickly before we get into today's topic, and that is the Irresistible You coaching program, which is my signature online course. This is how you work with me. If you like the podcast, if you like my style, if you like the stuff that I'm putting out, working with me is going to be an even deeper dive into that. It's going to get you some, personalized coaching and things that you need to succeed in your own journey. If that is something that you are interested in, you want to listen up. You want to make sure that you are going to get yourself enrolled before June 1st, because June 1st, 2021, enrollment fees are going up, and they will not be back to the prices that they are right now. So if you have been sitting on the fence, this is your sign. This is your opportunity to come in, get into the group program, get enrolled with us, hang out with us over in the Irresistible You coaching program. And if you want to learn more about that, I know I always reference that at the beginning of the episode, just head over to irresistibleicing.com/course. That includes all of the details about what the program what's included in the program. It also has various real client testimonials. There's also some videos on there for you to get a sneak peek behind the scenes and also listen to one of my existing students talking about her experience. Do not wait. Make sure that you get yourself enrolled by June 1st, because the prices are going up and they will not come back down. So if you want to ask me any type of questions, you can DM me over on Instagram at Irresistible Icing, or you can post inside of the free podcast group. I just wanted to put that out there before we get into it, because I don't want you to miss out. Okay, let's get into today's topic. Today, we're going to be talking about how to stop shrinking yourself and how to stop playing small. And I'm going to break it down. What does that mean? What does that look like? And how do we fix it? And how do we move forward? And this is something that's really important because it is so deeply rooted and connected to feeling uncomfortable in your own skin, not loving yourself, not feeling confident, carrying a ton of emotional weight, no matter what size you are. This concept of shrinking yourself and playing small is just deeply embedded. And this is one of the things, probably one of the most important things, even I would argue, that is holding you back. It is holding you back from a bigger life. It is holding you back from becoming who you want to be. It is holding you back from becoming the most irresistible version of yourself. You cannot show up in your life and become irresistible you if you continue to shrink yourself down and play small. So let's talk about what all of this means. So it is so easy to complain about your size. It is so easy to be pissed off at yourself because you gained back 40 pounds. It's so easy to sit in front of the mirror and rip yourself apart and wonder how you gain the weight back, and just continuously berate yourself about your size and your weight and how you can't do this and you can't do that, and just all these inner fat bitch thoughts that come into your brain about what the weight means to you. And so it seems like, when you stay at that place, it seems like the weight is a very surface level problem because number one, it's on the surface, right? It literally is on the surface of your body, so it's visible. You can see it. I can see it. Other people can see it. It's not something that you can hide. Okay. And so when we say surface level problem, what that also means is we think that's our biggest issue in life. If I was skinny, I could, open the business that I've always dreamed of. If I was skinny, I could wear the things that I've always wanted to wear. If I was skinny, I would get out of this toxic relationship. If I was skinny, I would have a better job. I would apply for more things at work, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. And so it's very easy to point the finger at the weight and to say, the reason I don't have the life I want is because I'm fat. The reason I don't ask for what I want is because I don't want anyone to see me, so I don't ask for what I want. And so it's very easy to go into the victim pity party mindset of, everything bad happens to me and there's nothing I can do about it, and it's just because I'm overweight. If I wasn't overweight, I wouldn't have these issues, da 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 da. So you point your finger at the weight, this very like surface level issue, because honestly, that's what the weight is. Okay? The weight is just the symptom of something else that's going on. And so what I mean by that is there's the actual fact of being overweight, okay? And then there is the meaning and the feelings and the thoughts and all the emotional junk that you've attached to what that means. And so while weight seems like it's a surface level problem, the meaning that you've attached to all of it is so much deeper. It's like deeply embedded into every area of your life. And I mean every area of your life, from the boardroom to the bedroom, honey. It is in every single area of your life. And it is holding you back in ways that I bet you don't even realize, that you haven't even acknowledged before. Because what happens before you go into this journey with Irresistible You, like we do in the coaching program, is you're asleep at the wheel. And we call that zombie walking. We have a lot of terms that we use within the program, and I use a lot of them here on the podcast as well. And zombie walking is what it sounds like. You're literally asleep at the wheel. You're just from one meal to the next. You're not engaged. You're not fulfilled. You're not doing anything other than your monotonous everyday routine. You get up, you shower, you go to work, you come home, you make dinner, da, 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 you go to bed, and you're not living, you're existing, okay? And so while the weight seems like it's this surface level problem, it seems like we can blame it on everything that's going wrong. That's actually not the truth. The truth is we've attached this meaning to it, and that shows up in different ways, okay? This is literally what we mean when we talk about emotional weight. Emotional weight is in all different forms of the ways that we carry that meaning around with us. We carry around the stories. We carry around the shame. We carry around the guilt about how weight and all of this stuff has dictated and controlled our life. And one of the ways that shows up is when you decide to play small in your life. So what do we even mean by playing small? When I say you're playing small and you're shrinking yourself, obviously we don't mean literally, right? We don't mean literally. What we mean by that is you are so self-conscious about your size. You are so obsessed with not wanting someone to see you at this size, to see you at this weight. So to compensate for that, you play it small. Because there's somewhere in the brain thinking, well, if I play it small, I'll appear smaller and I won't make as big of a scene and people won't notice me and they won't notice my size. And when we talk it out like this, logically, it's like, oh my gosh, really? But this is the stuff that we do. We do it and we don't realize we're doing it. This is part of the zombie walking stuff. So the whole goal is always for you to go from zombie walking to radical self-awareness. When you have self-awareness, you can learn how to call yourself out on your own bullshit. So playing it small is this way of, I'm going to show up, metaphorically small in the world so that people don't really see me and notice me, because then it's like my size. It's like I might as well have a billboard saying, I weigh, 250 pounds, 300 pounds, whatever the number is, right? And so playing it small in your life is one of these, we say weight is like a symptom. Playing it small is one of the bigger problems, because when you play it small in your life and you shrink yourself down, you cannot possibly be living the best version of you. You cannot possibly be living an irresistible life. You cannot be living a life that you crave. And you certainly are not giving yourself the things that you deserve. Okay? And there are different ways that you can play small. And let's talk about that. What are the ways, or what does it mean to play small in your life, and what does it actually look like? Let's talk about some examples. So number one, there is physically. You can physically, try to shrink yourself and play small. And what's funny about it, not like haha funny, but you know what I mean. It's like, we're not fooling anybody. So let's put that on the table first. It's like, these are the mind games that we play when we're carrying this emotional weight, when we're dealing with this inner fat bitch. This is the game that we play with ourselves, which when we put it out on the table and we're sitting here talking about it, it doesn't make any sense. But when we're in it and we're doing it, it makes perfect sense. We've rationalized an irrational thing. So what I mean by that is, number one, you can physically play it small with your posture. So let's use my favorite example of this, which is on an airplane, where you're getting on an airplane and you get into your seat, right? And let's say you're sitting by the window and you're like shoving yourself and your body literally into the window so hard that you're so uncomfortable, because you're trying your damnedest to not have the hip spill over into the next middle seat so that you don't, air quote, offend the passenger that's sitting next to you. So you kind of hunch over and you're just like sucking everything in and pushing yourself into the window and just trying everything in your power to make yourself feel physically smaller, even though that's really not possible. But something about it gives you that comfort that you're trying, because God forbid any part of your body slightly brushes across someone or spills into the next seat, when, I don't care what size you are, these airplanes are insanely small. Okay? We're going to be touching people at some point because they are insanely small. Okay? Another way you do this with posture is like, hunching over. Like, I'm going to tell you the difference here. So I'm like sitting at the desk, and now I'm going to like hunch my shoulders over and like sit over, and I'm going to look at the floor, and I'm going to like pull my body in as tightly as I can, because now I feel smaller. And when you do that, you are literally taking your power away. You are taking your power away, and you are shattering your confidence. So that is a way, and you see how my voice changed even when I'm doing that? That is a way that you are physically trying to shrink yourself down and play small. Because it's like, well, if I do these things, then no one will actually notice me or see me, or I won't offend someone because of my size. Okay? So, how many of you do like what I call it, like the theater the sorry shuffle in the theater? When you have to get up in a theater and you're like in the middle of the row, and so you do the sorry shuffle all the way down while your face is like turning beet red because your ass is probably hitting people, and it's like a whole thing. And let me just say this is the reality dose that you need. Your size is your size. Okay? Whatever size you are today, whatever weight you are today, whatever size you are today, whatever your hip inches are today, girl, that's not going to change tomorrow. It's not going to change by the end of the weekend. So, yes, you can be working on yourself. You can be on your weight loss journey. Yes. But what I'm trying to say is, while you're on the journey, it's not going to change overnight. So we have to learn how to stop doing these things at our biggest size, because it's not going to just, you're not going to just learn how to stop playing small because you get physically small. It's not going to happen. You have to make an intentional decision to work on the emotional weight at the same time. Okay. So that's one of the ways that we can play small physically. And that airline example, think about it on a carnival ride, at a theme park ride. I mean, sitting at a chair at a meeting. You know what I'm talking about. So there's that. Okay. There is also you constantly apologizing for taking up space. So even back to the airplane example, if your hips are kind of spilling into the next seat, or you've brushed against the next passenger, what do you say after that? Sorry, sorry. Or when you do the theater shuffle, the sorry theater shuffle, it's like sorry, 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 sorry. And you're constantly apologizing for the fact that your body takes up space in the world, in the earth. Why? We don't need to apologize because we exist. We don't need to apologize because our body is like taking up space. I don't care what size you are, your body is supposed to, it's like newsflash, your body is supposed to take up space. You're not like invisible. Okay, this isn't the Invisibles. You are here to take up space on the earth. And let me tell you something, you better own that space. Own the shit out of that space. And you don't apologize to anybody for it. I don't give a shit if you're 300 pounds, 200 pounds, 100 pounds. I don't care. You deserve to take up that space. And you don't owe anyone an apology for that, okay? Like, this just fires me up because you deserve to be here and you deserve to take up the space that you take. Period. Period. So that is another way of like shrinking yourself down, playing small, is like constantly apologizing for taking up space. And so I want you, as I go through each of these examples, one of the things I want you to be doing, you can do this, write this down or kind of think about it as you're listening. How does this affect you? Like, what are the ways that you shrink yourself down with your posture? How do you shrink yourself down with your apologies? Constantly apologizing for things that you don't need to apologize for. There are so many things that do not require the word sorry. They just don't. All right, so let's talk about some other ways that you can shrink yourself, or that you think you're shrinking yourself and playing small. That is, okay. How does this ring? How does this ring for you? Not wanting to ask for help, and help meaning physical help, like, hey, I need help moving this thing. I need help putting this thing together. Hey, I really need help. I'm going through some stuff, and I just need somebody to come over and talk to. So stuffing your emotions down because you don't want anyone else to take on your burden. You think that you're a burden. You think that you are a problem, and you don't want to put your trouble and your burden on anybody else. And there's something rooted in that you don't think that you deserve to have anyone else spend energy on your feelings. So what do? You stuff your emotions down. You tell yourself, I don't need anybody. I got this. I can do it by myself. I don't need any help. Or if someone offends you, or, something happens, rather than address it, you just stuff it down, act like everything's okay, and keep pushing on and moving forward. And that's another way of playing small, is you're not giving yourself the space. So it's like, you don't want to physically take up space. So we talk about the posture stuff. This is you not wanting to take up emotional space. You don't want to take up anyone else's emotional space, because then you have to be seen. And your biggest fear is to be seen, like, for who you really are, size and everything. So it's like, don't take up the emotional space, and don't allow anyone else in your world, because you don't feel like you deserve to have anyone help you. So that is definitely another way that you're shrinking yourself down and playing small. So here's another one, downplaying your accomplishments. If you, have some kind of success in your life, whatever that is, whether it's, you just bought a new house, you just won an award at work, you got a new job position, you got promoted, you just like all these different things in your life that could be an accomplishment. How many times do you downplay those accomplishments? Well, I only got the position because so and so left. It's like, really? It's like, but if you weren't worthy of the position and you didn't have what it takes, you wouldn't have been given the position. So you never allow yourself to take the credit where credit is due. And so you downplay your accomplishments. And I guarantee you that inner fat bitch dialogue that's going on is like, who does she think she is? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are, like, doing that? Or it's like, I don't want to tell anybody my accomplishments or like brag about what I'm doing because you think, number one, you think it's bragging and it's actually not. It's like, if I talk about my accomplishments or any of my successes, what are people going to think? They're going to be like, wow, she can accomplish that, but she can't do something as easy as lose the damn weight. That's the dialogue that goes through your head. So you constantly downplay your accomplishments because you don't want the attention, you don't want anyone to know, you don't want to put the spotlight on you, and you have this inner fat bitch dialogue of the whole who do you think you are stuff, right? So that is another way that you are playing it small, is you don't talk about the good stuff in your life. So not only that, it's not even just about telling other people and putting it out there. It's about the fact that you don't allow yourself to sit in your own accomplishments because it feels uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable to just allow yourself to sit in that and be like, you know what? Yeah, I did that. Because if you don't feel worthy, if you don't feel deserving, if you don't feel confident, it's not gonna, and then you accomplish this like really awesome thing, it's gonna be, it's not gonna be in alignment with what you're thinking and feeling. So you're thinking like, yeah, I guess I did that, but it was only because of da 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 da. It was only because I was able to do this. It was only because that person left. It's like when we talk about the sorry but compliment thing, like when someone gives you a compliment and you're first about like, let's say when they compliment you, like, oh my God, you're like looking really good, right? And your first reaction is, it's a thanks, not the sorry, but the thanks, but I still have 20 pounds to lose. Thanks, but I'm really trying. It's like you can't give yourself the credit that you deserve. Because if you don't feel worthy and deserving, how can you? And this goes back to, it's not just about the surface level weight. It's about the meaning that you have attached to being the quote unquote fat girl, the overweight person your whole life. It's about what it means. And what it means is, I don't feel worthy and deserving. And so then that like infiltrates down into all these other areas. I'm telling you right now, it's every single area of your life. It's not just about the meal plan and the exercise plan and how much can you lift and how much can you run and how many calories. No one cares about that. That's surface level shit. What really matters here is how being overweight, how not loving yourself is showing up and making you play it small in every other area of your life. Because again, why? Playing small, shrinking yourself down, you cannot live the best version of you. You cannot be the irresistible version of you as long as you continue to play small. You have to own who you are. You have to take up space unapologetically. And you have to let everybody know that you're the shit. Okay? You let people know about those accomplishments. You let people know what you have going on in your life. Because you deserve that. And so one of the other ways that you shrink yourself down and you play it small is the constant negotiating with yourself. It's like this ongoing negotiation that you're having with yourself. So for example, you see, let's use a really easy one here. You see an outfit that you just think is like like so fierce. You want to wear it. You're like, oh my God, that is like it right there. Okay. You're like, oh my God, who do you think you are? You can't wear that. You can't wear that. Come on, look at you. Look how fat you are. You're disgusting. Who do you really think you're going to put that on? Like, you're going to look so stupid in it. And so then you're like, okay, well, if I could get the 20 pounds off, before the beginning of summer or before the vacation or before my business trip, then I could go out and buy it. You know what? It's stuff like that. Or like, yeah, my hair looks like shit. I need to have my hair done. But who do you think you are? Nobody wants you to show up in their salon chair looking like that. And it's like you just tell yourself these horrible, mean, nasty things. That's what the inner fat bitch is. Okay? And so you constantly negotiate with yourself that you can do, that's great. That's great for those people. Those type of people accomplish that. Those type of people have financial success. Those types of people go on vacation. Those types of people wear those clothes, but I'm not those people. And you have cut yourself off from any opportunity that you could have for yourself. Because you just tell yourself you're not allowed to have that. You can't do that, all because of your size. And so you constantly negotiate with yourself that, once I lose the weight, then I won't mind being outgoing. Well, here's the thing, guys. If you're not an outgoing person who's overweight, you're not going to be an outgoing person who's thin. Some of your personality is just your personality. And just because you lose the weight doesn't mean you're going to go from being born as an introverted person to now you're this outgoing extrovert. That's not going to happen. Okay? So you're negotiating with yourself things that are just ridiculous, things that you don't need to negotiate with yourself. And it's like you tell yourself, well, you deserve to suffer. This is just the price you need to pay for being overweight. And when you lose the weight, well, then we can go book a vacation. Then we can go try on the dress. Then we can go, whatever, fill in the blank. Fill in the blanks for your situation. So how are you constantly, what is it that you're constantly negotiating with yourself and not allowing yourself to do it? You're not allowing yourself to be seen. And what does that look like for you? So there are so many, and this isn't even all of them, but there are so many different ways that you can try to shrink yourself, try to play small so that you can somehow disguise your size and not be seen. Because the ultimate issue here's the ultimate issue. The ultimate issue with all of this is that you are afraid to be seen. So if I stay under the radar, if I play small, if I don't rock the boat, if I don't ask questions, if I don't put myself out there in any form or fashion, then I don't have to be seen. And I've talked to some of you, and this is so true. And I mean, everything I talk about on this podcast, I have experienced. So I'm not just spitting stuff out that I'm like making up or reading on a book. All of the things I talk about are things that I have done as well. And it's like, what are some of the ways that you play it small? And I've actually talked to some women when we've gotten on the phone, and it's like some of the things they do is like not apply for certain jobs, even though it's a dream job, even though it would have better hours, even though it would give them back more time, even though it gives them tons of more money. They don't do it because then they have to be seen in a different way. You have to be seen. You have to be, I'm using air quotes again, on stage. You have to be on for some jobs. And some people don't want that because they don't want anyone to see them like this. So the question is, here's the question. How long have you been playing small? How long? Let me rephrase that. How many years of your life have you been playing small and shrinking yourself? How many? And for what? For what? For who? Because at the end of the day, guess who suffers because of this? You suffer. You're miserable. You're not living your best life. You're not becoming irresistible you. And who else in your life that you love and care about suffers as well because of who you are right now? Because you're not happy, because you're miserable. There are other people. It trickles down, guys. It trickles down. And the next question is, so I asked you, how many years of your life have you been playing it small? Staying on the sidelines, not opening your mouth, just kind of, watching from afar. It's almost like, it seems like you're watching a movie or you're watching everybody else in life, and it's like you're missing, like you forgot something or you're missing something. You didn't get the memo. Because everybody else around you is doing things that you wish you could be doing. Well, the only person that's holding you back from that is you. You're not a victim in this. So it's like, how many years have you wasted? And my next follow-up question to that, how many more years are you willing to waste and throw down the toilet? Because let's be very clear. That is exactly what you're doing. If you are walking around, zombie walking through your life, you are existing for what? You're existing to pay some bills? Is that really what you want for yourself? Is that all you want for yourself? You are literally just existing to exist. You're not living. And so no wonder there's emotional eating. No wonder you are comforting yourself with food, because you literally have nothing else to look forward to. If you don't have anything else in your life to look forward to bring you joy, to bring you happiness, to like light you up, to like make you feel like you, obviously then you're just zombie walking around eating food all day. So that's the question. How many more years are you willing to waste? And I'm saying willing because once you know something, and if you're sitting here listening to the podcast, you now have this awareness that this could potentially be a problem for you. You're now making a conscious decision. When you know better, you do better, right? Love that quote. And it's now a choice. Because when something is brought to your attention, you have to make a decision about what to do. You don't get to just zombie walk and zone out and act like it's not happening. You now are making the decision to play small. If it's being brought to your attention, you're like, yes, 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 girl, blah, blah, checking all the boxes as I'm talking about that. And now you see it, you realize it, you know you're doing it. Now what's your next move? What's your next move? Are you going to keep wasting your life? Because that is exactly what you were doing. You were just wasting your life away for what? Because of what somebody might think? Somebody that doesn't even deserve an opinion in your life? I don't give a shit what any of you think of me. Sorry, not sorry, but it's the truth. Like, there are only less than a handful of people that I give a shit about their opinion. Facts. Like, that's just what it is. So if you're going to sit there and play it small and make your life you're not living the life that you sit there and dream and crave because of what some asshole may or may not even say to you, you're literally wasting time. Wasting time. And what's the trickle-down effect of that? Who else in your life is not getting the best version of you? Who else is not getting a good experience of being with you because of it? This is real stuff, guys. And if it's hitting a nerve, good. It needs to hit a nerve. Because how else are you going to make a change in your life? How else are you going to transform your life? And you have to get so uncomfortable with it. You have to be so willing to rip that wet blanket off and just feel the cold for a little bit if you really want changes to happen. Otherwise, you're going to go back to your same old routine. You're going to wake up a year from now, wow, that thing Amy said was really true. I guess I should have done something. I should have taken action. Here I am a year later, same shit. Same shit, different day. Is that what you want? Do you want to wake up a year from now and still be doing the same shit, having the same thoughts, having the same fears, having the same like resistance to everything? Is that what you want? If it's not what you want, then make a decision, create a plan, and everything. So, like, one of the things we talk about in my program is taking imperfect action. We are not about perfection because that is not real. It is about what is the next best thing I can do today? What is the one thing I can do right now to move myself forward? Because you're also not going to change a lifetime of habits, a lifetime of thoughts, a lifetime of inner fat bitch dialogue. That's not going to change in 2 days. It's not going to change after one podcast episode. It changes when you continuously show up and make a decision that you're done playing small, that you're ready for some transformation. You're ready to become who you know you're supposed to be. Because there's a version of you in your head of who you're supposed to be. It's like the irresistible version of you, like the person who doesn't care, the person who doesn't have fear about every little thing, the person who is doing what she wants. And it doesn't match up with the person that you are. And so what do? We just blame it on the weight. Well, if I was skinny or thin, then it would all just make sense. It would all just come into play. It would all just happen. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, what did I say? It's really easy to just look in the mirror and point the blame at your size, at your weight. But it's not the weight. It's the meaning that you have attached to the weight. And that meaning has like dripped deeply down into all the other areas. The reason you don't want to apply for that job, because you don't want to be seen, because you don't like the way you look. You don't want people to make fun of you, because if you're on stage, if you have to speak, if you have to do conference calls, if you have to do this and that, then people have to see you for who you are. See what I'm saying? So it's like, it becomes so much more than just surface level weight. It becomes you're holding yourself back from life-changing opportunities that could literally change your life and your family's life if you allowed yourself to move forward. And you don't need to lose weight. You don't need to get to your goal in order to do these things. What you have to do, the whole secret, if you want to know the secret is you have to do these things now at your bigger size, because you need to teach yourself that you are worthy and deserving of the life you crave regardless of the scale. And if you lose weight in the process, that's just icing on the cake. But we have to retrain our brains that, weight loss is not a prerequisite for a better life. You can start living a better life now. You can start putting things in motion now. And I'm going to say this too. If all this is bringing up like resistance and fear and all the things, let me just say this. The real reason that you're afraid of transforming your life, that you feel this resistance, that you feel this fear, I promise you it's not a fear of failure. And I mean this with all the love and respect, I do. You've gotten really good at failing. If you're a yo-yo dieter, if you've been on the yo-yo diet body hate shame cycle, I have to say it, you're really good at failing because you've done it over and over and over and over. Think about it. You know how to fail. And failing is comfortable. Failing is the wet blanket. You don't like it. It feels gross. It feels cold and wet, but you're comfortable with it because it's familiar. So you know how to fail. You know how to do that. That's not a problem. You're not afraid of failure. You're not afraid of failure because you've done it so many times and you've thrown in the towel and you've given up. So you know what that feels like. But have you ever tasted or known what success feels like? Have you ever allowed yourself to get past that hump where it feels really hard? Have you ever allowed yourself to make the sacrifices that need to be made to have success in your life, whatever that success is? Because I'm not just talking about weight loss, I'm talking about any type of success. Because any type of success has some parts of it that are really hard. And when it gets hard, you've gotten really good at saying, F this, I'm done, I'm out, this is too much. So you're good at that. You're good at quitting. But are you good at hanging on? Are you good at making a commitment that this is it? That I'm going to do whatever it takes to become who I want to be? Even when it gets hard, especially when it gets hard. More people have a deep-rooted fear of success than they do of failure. Because why? Success is not easy. It's not easy. And when you get to the other side, so to speak, because that's kind of a myth too, right? You get to the other side of it, success equates to a shit ton of responsibility. It does. Let's think about that. Let's talk about it with weight loss, right? Let's say you get to your goal weight. Well, you don't get to go backwards and do all the habits, all the type of eating, all the things that you were doing before. Because if you do, you're not going to stay there. So to stay there, you have to be in maintenance mode, right? You have to have learned, and that's why I say learn how to do this stuff at your big size. Learn how to do it at your highest number, because you're not getting to a point where you just say, well, I'm done with this. I can go back to eating shit all the time. I can go back to binging every night. I can go back to only having Netflix as my hobby. I can go back to like not doing stuff anymore and like talking shit to myself. No. Success requires work, and it requires responsibility. You have a responsibility to that success if you want to keep it. And that's why I say that illusion of like getting to the other side is really funny, because you get to a certain level, you don't get to take your foot off the gas. It's the same thing in business. People talk a big game. They want to have their empire. They want to have this big business. They want to have all this money. And the hardships you go through when you're first starting out and you're scrimping money together and you're, can't make ends meet and you're trying to do all the things. And then you get to this level where you're, the money's rolling in, you're being really successful. Guess what? That has a ton of responsibility, because now you've got to stay there. And the bigger your business grows, you've got a team. You now have other people that depend on you financially. It's not a game anymore. So whether it's finances, weight, work, whatever it is, success requires an extreme amount of responsibility. And I promise you, that's why you're avoiding the transformation that you crave. Because you don't get to just do something and then achieve it and then go, well, that was fun, I'm out. It doesn't work that way. And if you've been running on the yo-yo diet, body hate, shame cycle, that's what you've become familiar with. That's what you're comfortable with. You're comfortable with, oh, I'll give this a try for a little while and just see how this goes. And then, it's too hard. Oh no, it's too hard. Oh my God, my life is going to shit. I had all these things happen. I can't focus on this right now. I'm done. And again, how many more years are you willing to waste not living out your full potential? That is one of my biggest fears in life is wasted potential. Think about that. How are you showing up for yourself? And how much of yourself are you pushing down because you're afraid of what success actually looks like? So let's just talk about how to stop playing small. We've talked about what it looks like. We've talked about how it shows up. We've talked about why it's just not a good idea. And so how do you stop playing small? Okay. Number one, you acknowledge it. Number one, you know, if it's this podcast that got you to realize it, great. But it's like you have to at least acknowledge that, yeah, I've been doing these things and this is what it looks like for me. Okay. The next thing to stop playing small is you got to show up. What does that mean? You hear me say it all the time. Show up, show up, show up. Show up means not zoning out, not zombie walking through life. So when that let's give an example. When that inner fat bitch hits and you're hearing, oh my God, who do you think you are? You can't wear that. Look at all those fat rolls. You've gained so much weight. Oh my God, look at your arms. Like that inner fat bitch is just going hard on you. Okay. The first thing that you want to do is what? Turn it off. You don't want to hear it. You want to turn it off. You want to run away from it. Like, no, 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 it's not this bad. It's not this bad. My life isn't this bad. I can't think. No, 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 no. This isn't really happening. So what do? You keep yourself busy. You shove it down with food. You find ways to distract yourself so that you don't have to tune in and listen. So showing up means, okay, I hear you. I'm listening, and I'm going to just, without judgment, I'm going to just listen to what's being said. I'm going to just listen to the thoughts that I have about this. I'm going to just allow myself to feel uncomfortable for a while. And you show up imperfectly. You show up in your life. That's just one example of what I mean when I say show up. It also means, you have to go to an event. You show up and you stay present. You show up. So there's a lot of ways that we show up and that we can practice this in our life. Okay, so that's one of the things. The next thing is to stop playing small. Meet yourself where you are. What do I mean by that? Meet yourself where you are today, not where you want to be next year or 6 months from now. So you can continuously be working on yourself, your self-development, your weight loss, what have you. But we're not going to put anything on hold because of it. We're going to continue to show up even though we don't love our body right now. We're going to continue to show up even though we wish we looked a little bit different. And we're going to meet ourselves where we are today. So let's go back to the airplane. Let's say where you are today is your hips are spilling into the seat next to you. Own it. Own it. Own it. It's like, yeah, this is happening and I can't change it in the next 10 minutes. I can't change it on the duration of this flight. So this is just where I'm at today. And it's like you have to, and you're going to have all the feelings come up. You're going to have all the inner fat bitch thoughts about what it means and blah, blah, blah. And that's when you show up and you listen. And you're like, okay, I'm going to just take all this in as data and I'm going to listen and then I can figure out what to do with this. So what we're trying to do is go from being a zombie walker who doesn't care, who's zoned out, who's not, dialed into her life, to someone who's very self-aware of her life. Because when you're self-aware, that's when you get to make changes. That's when you get to make decisions about what to do. You cannot make changes or make decisions if you're zoned out. The next thing I want you to do, and this is really important, and I have everybody that starts my program, we do this in great detail. We have specific questions that we go through, and they do this in the first week, is I want you to create a crystal clear vision of who the irresistible you is. Who is irresistible you? What does she look like? What does she say? What does she do? What is her life? And you get very, very detailed about your vision of who you want to become. What does that look like? When I was first starting my business and working from home and knowing that I wanted a certain type of lifestyle, it was like, I want to be the type of person that if I decide to become a parent, I can go and take my kids to the museum in the middle of the day. I don't have to ask anyone permission to take my kids to the doctor. That was part of my vision. And I'm now living it. So the things that are happening in my life like that don't just happen. They happen because I had a very, very crystal clear vision about what I wanted. And I was intentional about my decisions. And guess what? I take my kids to the zoo, the museum, the aquarium, all kinds of stuff, in the middle of the day while still running my business, while still working. And I don't ask permission for any of it. If my kids are sick, it's a sick day. If my kids have to go to the doctor, we're going to the doctor, and I don't need to ask anybody if I can go. So what do you want for your life? So it's not just about what do you want to look like. That's like, come on, guys. No. What do you want your life to feel like? If you say, I want my life to just feel at peace, okay then, what does that look like? How do you need to it's like you have to design your own life. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand, is that you have all the power in your hands to make these changes. And I'm not saying these changes are easy, and I'm not saying they happen overnight, but you have the ability to put the balls in motion to make stuff happen. Again, one of the other things to stop playing small, stop apologizing. Just stop. Stop apologizing for taking up space. Stop. Plant your feet on the ground, put your shoulders back, put your head up high, and own that space, okay? Own it. And don't say you're sorry, and don't apologize to anybody. Think about when you're at like a museum or an aquarium, places where you're like looking at stuff, like and you position your body in such a way that you're not taking up as much space. No, take it up. People can go around. People can figure out their shit. Because let me tell you something, they sure as shit aren't worried about you. They're worried about pushing you out of the way. But they're not worried about how you feel. Stop worrying about these strangers and what they think and feel. Stop. The next one is, girl, you need to be so proud of yourself and all of your accomplishments, no matter what they are. From the smallest thing to the biggest thing, you need to start celebrating and like owning your success. Own it. Own your accomplishments and be proud of it. Because you deserve it. And stop like doing the thing where like, yeah, but I got this or I got that or I did this or it's only because I got it. Enough. Stop. Just stop. I'm not immune to this, guys. Like, even though I've been working on myself for so many years now, and I run this program as part of my business, I teach people how to do this. That's why I say there's no level where it just stops and you never go back to doing things the old way. Because I still struggle with some of this stuff too. And I'll share a real story with you guys, real life story for me. And this happened to me recently, and I'm still sitting in it, allowing myself to own this. One of my bucket list items, okay, one of my big things, big accomplishments, big things that I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to go to Disney World during Halloween time, October Halloween, okay? And especially when I had my kids, I was like, I definitely am taking, like, every time we watch a Disney movie and the castle would come on, I would tell Kat, I'm like, Mom is going to take you there. Mommy and Dad are going to take you there. We're going to go there. We're going to do this. And I also knew I wanted to do it big. Like, I don't want to hold back. If I'm going to go, I want to go all in. I want to do the whole ridiculous experience of being there. And I have been to Disney many times in the past. So just side note here, I'm like sidebarring, guys. In my past life, I was a travel agent. I worked in the travel industry as a instructional designer. I've worked in the travel industry in marketing. I've done a lot of stuff in the travel business. And so when I was in travel, I got to go to Disney free multiple times for these training programs, which was amazing. But I have never been with, Frank and I have never been together, and I've never been with my family. So this was something that's been on my bucket list for a very long time. And it's even right now, I'm like feeling weird about saying this to you guys. So about a month ago or so, we booked it. We are going to Disney World. We're doing the whole like October Halloween thing. And I started crying. I started crying after we booked it. And it was like really hard for me to own that, because it's like that inner voice was coming in of like, oh my God, are you really going to spend all this money? You really should be putting this money towards this and this and this, or this and this and that. And like, who do you think you are? You can't be doing this. Why are you doing this? And it was like, whoa, whoa. It's like, and then I kept justifying it in my head. It's like, yeah, but we got a really good deal on the resort. And it's like, that doesn't matter. That's one of those ways that we try to downplay. Well, I mean, I'm going because I got it, No, own it. Own it. This is a major accomplishment for me. To be able to take our family there, to do all the big stuff we've always wanted to do. It's like, yeah, it's a big deal. And so somewhere along the way, we learned that you're not supposed to quote unquote brag about your accomplishments. Screw that. Screw that. Life is too short. Life is too short. And I'm going to tell you one thing. You don't see men sitting around like holding back, not telling anybody their accomplishments. So as women, let's just stop doing that. Let's be proud of our success. Let's be proud of what we're able to accomplish, whatever that is. Whatever that is. And so I was finding myself like, I haven't even shared it on social media or anything because I just felt like, ew, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do that. Like, but it's something I have always dreamed of. I've always wanted to do. And we're now bringing that to life. And it's so amazing and it feels so good. And I can be proud of that. And it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. What matters is we're excited. We've always wanted to do this and we're doing it. And this isn't something I would have been able to do, 10 years ago. Okay. So it's like, own your accomplishments and sit in them. Because sometimes, it's uncomfortable to sit in the nasty feelings. I think sometimes because you're not accustomed to like celebrating yourself, it feels uncomfortable to like, yeah, I did that. Hell yeah, I did that. Hell to the yes, we did that. Okay. And I'm not going to give any F's about it. Period. Like, but I had a moment of that where it was just like feeling really weird for me. And I had to kind of like, here's why I tell you, when you hear that inner voice, please don't run away from it. Do not run away from it. When you hear that inner voice, that is a sign that you need to tune in, that you need to listen because something isn't in alignment. All right? Because that is a warning. That is like your wake-up call that you need to listen. And so one of the last things I'm going to talk about on how to stop playing small is we're going to stop the negotiating process. You're going to stop doing that. You're going to stop negotiating with yourself that you'll be able to go to Disney. You'll be able to go on vacation, wear the dress, get the job promotion, get the relationship, have the baby, whatever, once you lose the weight. And I want you to stop negotiating with yourself. And instead, I want you to start taking imperfect action. Right? Let's say there's the outfit, the one we talked about earlier that you're just dying to get. You're like, oh my God, it's so cute. It's so pretty, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'll just get that when I lose 20 pounds. It's like, what if instead you just started doing something right now to put the wheels in motion? And I always tell people this, even if you can't afford something, do your research. Start pulling things together because you're putting that energy out there, right? So example, let's just say, you really want to buy a new house, but you think there is no way in hell that can happen for me right now. Okay, maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But what you should be doing is like, okay, if I knew I was going to buy a house, what are the things I need to start doing now to set myself up? It's just like this process. It's like maybe you won't be able to buy the house until a year or two from now, but you needed to lay the foundation to make it happen. So what does that look like? It means, okay, let's look at my income. Let's look at my income to debt ratio. How much debt do I have and how much of this can I start paying back and when? What do I want in a house? What are my must-haves? What are my non-negotiables? What are the neighborhoods? What are the schools? Like you start. So what that does, yes, it doesn't mean just because you do that, you're going to buy the house tomorrow. No, we're not in fantasy land here. Okay. What it means is you're putting out this energy of this is what I want for myself. And so now I'm going to do the research and the work to figure out what do I need to lay down in order to make this happen. It's the same thing with emotional weight. It's like, I may not be at my goal weight, but what are the things that I can do now to start creating the better version of me, no matter where I am on the scale? I'm going to learn how to talk to myself differently. I'm going to start taking pride in my appearance. I'm going to start doing things that make me happy. I'm going to stop waiting for the weight. So it's the same thing. You want to put that energy out there. Because something big like that, like buying a house, is not usually something somebody does in a couple weeks or a month if they've never done it before. So you start laying the plans, laying the foundation, putting your energy out there. And you stop telling yourself, well, that's for other people. That's for those people. That's for those types of people. No. You got to stop doing that stuff. Because when you do that, what you've done is you've cut yourself off before you even have an opportunity. You have to be willing to think bigger, dream bigger, and play bigger. And you can't do that as long as you're continuing to play small. So let's wrap everything up because this is a really long episode. Number one, I want you to think about, and you can come into the Facebook group and you can post this up in the thread, or you can create a new post, what have you. I want you to share with us, how are you playing small in your life? Based on the examples I gave you, you can use some of those and think about how it shows up in your life. How are you playing small? And how is playing small holding you back from what you want? And what are some of the things that you're going to start working on today to stop playing small? What are some of the things you're going to do to show up? What are some of the things that you're going to do to meet yourself where you are? Who do you want to become? How are you going to stop playing small? Let's create a plan and let's post it inside of the group, okay? If you're not a member, it's totally free. You just go to Facebook, type in Irresistible You podcast. It's in the groups tab. There's also a link in the show notes. Request to join. I will let you in. And then I just want to wrap up and remind you guys again that the Irresistible You coaching program is going up in price as of June 1st. If you have ever been on the fence, if you've been considering it, if you've been thinking about it, now is the time. Now is the time. If you like my style, if you like the way I come on here on the podcast, you're going to get even more of that, and you're going to get a detailed framework, and you're going to get a detailed plan. Come into the program. Go to irresistibleicing.com/course and you can see everything that's included. You can see testimonials. You can watch a couple different videos. And then if you have specific questions that you want me to answer, just shoot me a DM on Instagram at irresistibleicing. But do not miss out. Do not miss out. This is your time. This is your sign. Okay? And lastly, if you could do this would be amazing. If you can head to Apple Podcast or iTunes and leave a rating and review, that would be so good, because what that does, the reason you always hear me ask that is because when you leave a rating and review, it bumps up the podcast in the list so that more people get access to it and can see it. So the more reviews, the more stars you leave, the more women can come into our community and can see what we're doing here and get the help that they need as well. All right, guys, I'm going to catch you inside of the Facebook group. You can also find me over on Instagram at Irresistible Icing. I hope you have an amazing, amazing day. Until the next one, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.